We are live.
All right. We are live. We're a little late, but we're live, so I'll get started. Stephanie is our administrator who pushes the buttons, and we had a little technical issue. Welcome to Carnivore Sunday School. I'm John, the carnivore teacher, and we have with us George Goodenough, and Stephanie will be here shortly. And we have a special guest, Louis. How do we say your last name?
Lotito.
Lotito. I want to make sure
Yes,
I
Italian.
ask you before I try it. All right, I'm Italian too.
Yeah.
All right. So what we normally do, Louis, is we do a quick introduction at the beginning. We kind of go around a circle, introduce ourselves, tell us how we came to carnivore, and then we come to you so you could tell us your story. And then the guests, hey, guests, if you're listening, if you have a question for Louis Lotito or me or George or Stephanie, you type a QQQ in the chat. Type your question and we'll attempt to answer it, or you can type a comment. We'll try to highlight that. So I'll get started, then we'll go to you, Louis, and then over to George. I'd like to go clockwise. Sure. I'm Carnivore Teacher Alpha. I'm on YouTube. I've been carnivore coming up on 3 years. I was ketovore before that, and keto. I lost some weight. I healed my lower back. My AFib went into remission. My skin cleared up. Just so many wonderful things occurred, which is why I make a daily YouTube video teaching about the carnivore way of eating. I'm a retired middle school teacher, and I continue to teach my followers here on YouTube about the carnivore way of eating and all the wonderful things it can do for us, because it's the ancestral diet. It's what we're supposed to be eating. Our body recognizes it, and it flourishes when it gets the proper nutrition without the toxins and the nutrients that come from plants and ultra processed food and seed oils and all the other terrible things that we don't realize when we're eating the standard diet are out there. Like, our eyes are closed. And, you know, those of us who are carnivore now, our eyes are opened. You know, we see things we didn't see before, and we're realizing by nourishing ourselves properly how amazing this way of eating is. And so we try to do shows like this and videos and pass it on. So that's why I'm here. Tell us about yourself, Louis, real quick.
Sure. So hi, everyone. My name is Louis Lotito. I was checking my phone to check my my counter. I have been eating a proper even diet for 1,008 days. So I just passed my 1,000th day last week. And I guess I found this way of eating because I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. And we can get into my story later around type 2 diabetes and other things. But yeah, that's what got me to this point. And John, I want to congratulate you on your channel. 10,000, you're over 10,000 now.
Yeah, thanks.
That's wonderful. The hard work is paying off.
Appreciate it.
And I'm going to pass it over to George.
All right, George.
Yeah. My name is George Goodenough. I'm from the UK, from the town of Bridgewater in Somerset in the UK, which is in the southwest of England. I'm 6 weeks younger than John. We are virtually twins in age. And I've been around in our space. I date it back to the 1st of March 2022, when I had a disastrous set of bloods. And I was fortunate enough to have a very understanding nurse who told me 4 words: all carbs are sugar. It didn't take me very long to get out of type 2 diabetes. So I'm 3.5 years in. Type 2 diabetes, according to the NHS, I'm cured. I'm no longer under diabetes care, which has been remarkable. I've lost 120 pounds, 10 inches off my waist. Most significantly for me, perhaps, is the fact that in August 23, I found my first friend in the carnivore community, who is a mutual friend of mine and John's, Larry Allhands, a carnivore soldier. And then I met my first UK carnivore, Lauren Tucker, who lives a few miles from me. And since then, I have been very active in the carnivore world, and I'm making a right nuisance of myself now and organising lots and lots of events and dragging people across oceans, and travelling across oceans myself, to be fair, and just having a great time with the community around the world, everywhere from Quebec to Queensland, from Los Angeles to London. So yeah, it's been a great journey. And I'm very glad to see Louis here tonight, because he and I are great friends. We're both coaches on the Kilts Health Coach.
That's right.
We qualify basically, and also we are regular. We regularly meet on the Zoom for Healing Humanity, because we're both members of the Healing Humanity movement. So we've got a lot in common, really, all three of us. So yeah, that's my short story.
All right, thank you so much. Yes, George is everywhere. Sometimes I don't usually get on to every single show, but sometimes when I have a free moment, I get on YouTube and I see something that's live, and I'll pop in there. There's George. There's Geez, which is fantastic.
Yeah, it is actually becoming my handle. A lot of people are saying that. A lot of people around the world are saying, "Yeah, George is everywhere."
George is everywhere.
And I like it when there's too many things happening at once, and he's like, he has to pick and choose.
He gets
and he's like,
flustered.
I'm sorry, I choose Dr. Kiltz, or I choose Healing Humanity. He has to choose.
Yeah, exactly. We had a clash on Thursday night.
Right.
And,
We do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was absolute agony for me, because it was a choice between going to go and see Dr. Sheffield, or going to go and give my weekly report to Kerry, and obviously my duty lies with Kerry, so I had to forego the pleasure of to Sheffield to go and speak.
There's only so many days in the week and so many hours in the day, and
exactly, yeah,
that's tricky.
Yeah.
So, all right, well, let's get started. Louis, did I meet you at Hack Your Health? We did. I thought I met you. Yeah, that fantastic. And Rick mentioned that in the chat there.
Yes.
Our duck friend Rick, and and he said that we both look better in person than on this contraption, this crazy
Rick.
thing.
I appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, Rick. So, all right, Louis, it's your time to shine. Tell us, sir. Tell us basically where you're from, how old you are, the town you live in, like some of the basic info that people don't often get unless we ask you first.
Yeah. So I'm currently 42 years old. My birthday is June, so I'm about halfway through this year. I live in New York City. So New York City has 5 boroughs. I live in the borough of Queens, so I don't live in Manhattan. I have a house, I have a backyard, so it's not like the New York City that people might think that aren't from here. So I'm, very similar to what many people live in, but I am also 30 minutes from Manhattan, which is very nice. 25 minutes from Manhattan. I currently work for New York City Public Schools. We're the largest school district in the United States. We have over 1 million kids and 1,600 schools. I work for the superintendent, and he's like the boss of the principals. So the principals in our district, we have 35 schools, 35 principals in our district, and I'm on the superintendent's team. I'm kind of like the chief of staff of the office. I kind of make things work and make things happen. So that's my my day job, and my night job is actually my wife and I have a nonprofit cat rescue that here in New York City, where we trap feral cats outside and get them spay neutered and then put them back out so they stop having kittens. And then we also rescue friendly cats and kittens that don't need to live outside to be adopted. So there's lots of cats running around my house. And actually, I'm so thankful for the blur feature, right? The portrait feature, because this is the only room that is cat free. And it's also right now, all of our Christmas presents are in here. So if I unblur my camera, you'll see wrapping paper and boxes and bags all around me right now. So that's a little bit about me, where I am right now. And I'm open to talk about anything. If you guys want to talk about cats or about education, I think it's all really interesting stuff. I started a proper human diet on March 19th, 2023. I find it very interesting. Lots of people started in that year, and I'm not sure why that is, or why we all kind of found each other, but 2023 was a really big year. I was 39 years old at the time. And, back up a little bit before that, when I was around 31 years old, and the records from this time are a little foggy. I don't have access to labs. Labs get done in all different places. I don't have access to everything. But when I was around 31 years old, that is when I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. And unfortunately, unlike George, I didn't have a nurse to tell me something like all carbs are sugar. And I was a very compliant patient. My doctor probably would have said I was a good patient, probably better than I am now. Now I'm not a good patient. But took my medications, went to my appointments. My A1C fluctuated between probably like the highest I saw it on record was probably like 8.5, and normally it was around, it was in the when I was on medication and managing it with medication, 6.2, 6.0, and then, I Lewis ate bad and it will go back up and, stuff like that. So 31 is when that started, and it's probably one of the biggest regrets in my life is not taking it seriously sooner. And then, listen, I'm not gonna beat myself up over it, but you tell a 31-year-old something like that, I don't really know, others that would act differently. Like it's. I should also say at that time I had no symptoms of diabetes, so I all the things that people complain about, like the frequent urination, neuropathy, pain, vision. I didn't have any. It was like silent. So that made it even easier for me to kind of like ignore it, or not make lifestyle changes and just take medication. So fast forward to about a year or so before I changed my diet. And I started to feel some complications, and it's very interesting because my A1C was high in the eights, but most of the time it was lower. It was in the sixes. And when I started to feel the symptoms of neuropathy in my feet and blurry vision, stuff like that, numbness in my feet, my A1C was not super high. So it's just a really important thing that, diabetes affects everyone's body differently. You'll meet diabetics that are diabetics for years with high A1Cs, no complications. And then you'll meet diabetics that maybe don't have a super high A1C and they start experiencing complications. So it's really very unique. So that is kind of the thing that pushed me to make lifestyle changes because I got scared. I started feeling these pains, and of course, I was 100 pounds heavier than I am now. So that is when I started cutting the carbs. When I started experiencing the neuropathy. Shortly before that, so I started a proper human diet in March. In January, I started GLP-1 medication. I started Manjaro, which is the active ingredient is called trizepatide. And my doctor's really great. He does whatever I want. He orders the labs I want. I come with a list. He puts the codes in for insurance. He's great. But what he's not good at is keeping you at the lowest dose of a medication or taking away medications. He's not good at that. I don't think most doctors are. So not really on him. But so yeah, so he titrated me up on the GLP-1 very quickly. And every month I went up in dose. And when I got to like the middle dose, I started to feel the appetite suppression, and the beneficial side effects that people take these medications for. And that's when I said, you know what, if I'm gonna if this medication is gonna help me like with hunger and food noise and stuff like that, I'm gonna lean into it. And that's when I went like super clean keto. And like most of us, most people that eat mostly meat now started keto, and that was a pretty quick transition. A few months before I stopped eating vegetables and plants. But yeah, I was on the GLP-1, and we can talk about that too. That's a great. I love talking about that. I was on my GLP-1 for about a year and a half, maybe a year and 8 months, and I stopped taking it October of last year of 2024. Um, and yeah, I really, I liked the way I felt taking trizepatide. But I wanted to maintain my A1C, my normal A1C without it, which is really what drove me to stop it. So I really did that. And and then that's me. Oh, I lost 100 pounds from when I started. So when I started, I was 276, and I got down to like 176. Right now, I'm like around 188. I kind of fluctuate a little bit. But my highest weight, if I look in like the health app on my iPhone, my highest recorded weight was like 320 pounds. So if you go for, and that was years like probably like during the pandemic or before the pandemic. So like if you go by that, I've lost over 100 pounds. It's my heaviest. But I usually don't say that. I usually start from when I started changing my diet, my 276. And that's it. I don't know. Is there anything else I left out, guys, that know my story? I think that's pretty much it.
I have a question that
Yeah.
came to mind as you were talking about the tirzepatide, the Mounjaro. When you went on that, you were not low carb first.
I was not.
You still ate the standard American diet for how
Yep.
long out of the one
I
year, 8
started
months?
January.
Mhm.
I started in January,
Okay.
and then I changed my diet in March.
So
So a few
three
months.
months. Okay.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
again, it was because, and this is all before we would say things like use this medication as a bridge, stuff like that. That's basically what I did. I was taking the lower doses, and I should even say before that, before I started taking the injectable GLP-1, I was on a pill called Rybelsus.
Oh.
Rybelsus is oral semaglutide, which is oral Ozempic.
Mhm.
And I didn't even know it was a GLP-1. I was just a compliant patient. My doctor went from metformin to blah, blah, blah,
Wow.
blah, blah, to this Rybelsus. And it wasn't until I stopped taking it and I learned more about these drugs because I started taking the injectable, and the GLP-1 community kind of like blew up with the weight loss scene. So I was kind of like in the GLP-1 community. I was also in the, low carb carnivore community, but I learned that I was on a GLP-1. So I think that maybe the reason why I didn't feel um, the effects of the injectable right away until I got to that middle dose was because I was already on a GLP-1
Right.
before for a while. But yeah, I didn't go low carb until I started feeling that appetite suppression, and I said, you know what, if this medication is going to help me with that, let me use it to let me. I said basically what I told my wife is I'm gonna lean into this, right? I'm gonna lean into these symptoms, and I'm going to go low carb. And she was like, all right, go for it.
My question is, if a
Yeah.
doctor's going to prescribe a GLP-1
Hmm.
for someone who has type 2 diabetes to get their A1C down,
Hmm.
and they still eat carbs and sugar, but
Yep.
their body, I can't eat that much anymore. I'm full, but when you're eating, you're still eating carbs. That doesn't solve the problem, right?
So, I mean, I definitely have seen people out eat the medication.
Right.
Absolutely. And in regards to weight loss and in regards to blood sugar control. The thing that we have to be aware of when we're taking it for blood sugar control, because you can take it and it can help your A1C and your
Yeah.
fasting glucose, and you cannot lose weight, but we're not going to the root cause problem. We're
Right.
not solving the problem. And
Right.
over time, your body can become adjusted to that medication, especially as you get to the top doses. So, um, I definitely think I'm definitely a advocate for when I meet people on GLP-1s that they also need to be eating a proper human diet. Um, and that looks different for different people. It might be keto. Please, I'd be happy if it was 100 grams of carbs or less a day. Even that's better than the standard,
Yeah. Sure.
American diet and standard Western diet. So yeah, I'm a big fan of the medications. I do know that there are people that have had complications with it, severe complications that are not good. I was not one of those people. I never had gastroparesis or threw up or I was never at the point where I couldn't eat anything. I just was a I really the medication I did really well on the medication, and which is why my doctor moved me up to the highest dose, and I was like, "All right, let's go." So I sprinted. I tell people I sprinted to the highest dose. So it starts at 2.5 milligrams, and then it increases periodically every 4 weeks. You can increase,
Mhm.
and just in the 4 weeks is just letting your body kind of get used to it. And then I got to that 15 milligram mark like as fast as you possibly could. 5 months later, I was on the highest dose, and I
Mhm.
was on that highest dose for most of the time. And then after I lost 100 pounds and my A1C was normal and again, my A1C was not normal because of the medication. It was normal because of my diet. I told my doctor to start to lower my dose back. So he started prescribing me, the 12.5, then the 10, then the 7.5.
Good.
And the lowest dose that he prescribed me was a 7.5. And at the same time, I didn't tell him this. I was spacing out my shots longer. So you're supposed to take it every 7 days. And I think at the longest, I was taking it every 12 days. And I felt no different. So finally, that one day in October, I said, okay, this is my last shot. Probably should have continued to wean down because about 6 weeks after I stopped taking it, I did get very hungry. It was very strange. But I just kept, obviously I wasn't eating sugar or carbs. Um, so I just kind of got through it, and it's okay, you know, and that's it. Yeah. But you definitely have to change your diet. Definitely have to change your diet.
Yeah, I think that's key.
Yeah.
Jonathan, Carnivore Muscle says 3-prong GLP meds are far better for battling elevated glucose via the glucagon mechanism.
Yep.
It causes the liver to dump out. Oh, it
Mhm.
jumped up. Causes liver to dump out elevated glucose, which is actually muscle sparing. So thanks for answering that question. I was wondering that because just being on the meds alone and not changing your diet.
Yep.
That's the key thing.
Yep. And the medication that he's talking about is called retatrutide, and it's not out yet. It's a triple agonist. Tirzepatide is a dual agonist, so it's GLP-1 and GIP.
Oh.
And then the 3 agonist drug is coming out probably in 2026 called retatrutide, and it adds glucagon into there as well, which is very interesting. And these medications are only going to, if they're going to keep making money, this is all about money.
Right. They're just going to come
they
out
have
more
to
and
keep
more.
they have to keep innovating. Yeah.
Any thoughts, George?
Yeah, I've got a few things I want to discuss. First thing is pick up on the GLP-1s. They are quite common here in the UK. I do know several stories, and they're very contrasting. But the theme that I'm noticing is that those people who are getting the bad results are the ones who are being lazy with it. They're not the ones who are examining their way of eating. They're not the ones who are doing the exercise to keep their bodies ticking over and in a good metabolic state. I personally know 2 people who are using the GLP-1s. The first one being our great friend of this show, Joe Archer in Nottingham. Joe's Sleep and Slim Down Journey. She is a great fan of the GLP-1. She's having massive success on it, but she's also taking a lot of exercise, and she is basically carnivore, very much hyper carnivore with the odd bell pepper and cucumber as a side. And it's her ambition to be on the dance floor at the Great British Meetup next June. So, she has set herself a goal, and she just found that GLP-1 is a massive help to her. The other one being my own beautician, because I get a 3-monthly, what's the word? When you have your feet done. Pedicure.
Oh,
thank
pedicure.
You. That's it, yeah.
Oh, very nice.
Because I work in boots, and it's really, when I say boots, I don't mean the British chemist. I mean the hobnail boots on a construction site. So my feet have taken a lot of hammering over the years, and it's good to get the hard skin removed and basically have them a bit of tender loving care every 3 months. And Deb, my beautician, I noticed she lost a lot of weight. Is looking really good. She knows my story. So I said, "Oh, did you follow my advice?" She said, "Not exactly." She said, "I did it. I'm on the Manjaro from the pharmacist." But she said, "I have listened to you." She said, "Oh, so I've gone low carb." And she's keen on the exercise. So yeah, she's the other one that I know personally. And the common theme is the exercise and the change of the lifestyle and the changing of the way of eating. So yeah, that's just one interesting point. Again, we are all stories, aren't we? So you can read what you like about the science of the GLP-1s, but the fact of the matter is that when we get the stories themselves, they to me they count far more than the.
I agree, and I will push back a little bit because I do know people that did change their diet, did change lifestyle, and the GLP-1 still made them sick. So I really I think the bigger, and again, I think the majority, and again, if these drugs were really, really causing people to become very ill, I don't think they would be as popular, right?
No.
I think the people that are having these experiences, I think, are just more the noisier ones, and for good reason. I do not want to minimize their experience because it's terrible. But I do know people. I do know friends that have changed their diets, went low carb, went carnivore, and they still had very bad gastrointestinal issues. And I think it's really the issue. I mean, we shouldn't be using drugs at all, but really the issue is I think the dosing that they have available commercially is just too strong for some people.
Yeah.
And I think that if you know, because the way that Manjaro comes in the United States is it comes in a single-use injectable pen that you basically unlock, put against your skin, push the button, and you get that entire dose that's in that pen. You can't say I want less or I want more. You can't. If you had like a vial and you can draw up what you wanted to and just take a micro dose or a dose that's smaller than the starting dose, those people that had those experiences might have done better. But that's not the way that the presentation is here in the United States. In Europe, I believe you guys have a quick pen, which you can customize the dose.
Possibly, but I don't
Possibly,
know.
but in the United States, we don't have
you
that.
have to ask. You have to ask Joe about that, and Joe is always available to ask that question. There, so I've got her on WhatsApp. I might even ask that and put it on our group. Yeah, what was I going to say? I think we've got Adrienne Gledhill in our community.
I love Adrienne.
And she is a fan of the micro dosing, I believe. I was watching her on Keto or the replay on Keto.
She is a fan of staying as low of a dose as you can, which I think is good advice for any medication, right? Why are you going to take more than your body needs to reach your goals? And Adrienne's funny story. Adrienne, you know, I knew her from the carnivore community, and then I was watching a video in the GLP-1 community because I was also kind of like just with, you know, they have their own little circle of YouTubers and all that stuff. And I saw Adrienne in the chat. And I messaged her. I said, "What are you doing in here?" And that's when, and it was right before she came out as that she was using tirzepatide. So I kind of got a little preview of that by spotting her in that group, which was very funny. But I was very grateful to talk to her because in the GLP-1 community, God forbid you cut out entire food groups because, you know, then I have an eating disorder and they're crazy and I'm crazy. And in the carnivore community, I couldn't talk about GLP-1s either because it was a big, you know, no to talk about any medication, let alone GLP-1s. So once I found Adrienne, I was very grateful because I had someone I can talk to that is in both worlds. And now, and I have to say this, I think Adrienne might have started this, but now we can talk about GLP-1s much more freely here in this setting. Still can't talk about carnivore in the GLP-1 communities, but I really don't that content anymore. Every now and then something will pop up and I'll watch it, but still can't talk about carnivore. Still can't.
I like to think that we as carnivores that there should be nothing off limits, and we are very tolerant. And I think the GLP-1 conversation has come to the fore, not to the fore, but it's become more open for discussion. It's no longer we mustn't talk about it, which is really good. But there's one thing before we move on just pick up on the community side of things, because as you said, it's all about 2023. I was diagnosed in 2022, but I first discovered the community. Well, I actually went carnivore in 23. So I can't remember who I was talking to the other day, but I said that I felt that 23 was the year of the awakening, when we all awoke to carnivore. And then in 24, we began to form communities. That was when really we here in the UK started to form communities. And I had one or two friends around the world, one of whom we'll mention in a minute, actually. But then I felt 25 was the year that we really pulled it all together on an international scale, to the point where we all know each other's meetups. We had an American representative over here back in August of last year. He's a dual passport holder, but he lives in Woodstock in Georgia. And then obviously, famously, we had a European representative over in Hack Your Health who got run over by a car. And Lewis, you were there in your Superman cape to rescue him. And
barely. I just went to the hospital with Alia.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but you know, that's the point. Well, I'm now getting this international exchange in 2025 that I foresee for the future. As you know, I bullied Dr. Kiltz into visiting us for a day earlier on this month. So that was great. And June next year, we have the Great British Meetup. Dr. Kiltz is coming. Our friend Angela is coming. Juliet and Doug are coming. Various other people are coming from America as well. I'm beginning to lose count. So it's, I believe Alia is looking at it as well. So, and I am going back to Wyoming next year. I've been to Wyoming this year. So the international exchange is beginning to happen. I'm very keen on that. And I really feel that 25 has been the year when we've really pulled it all together. Where the KMT has come together, Healing Humanity has come together. I'm sure that Steak and Butter Gal and Bella and the PhD and Dr. Berry. You know, I focus only on two, the KMT and healing humanity, because as you alluded to at the top of the hour, I find it I can't be everywhere at once, although I try.
I definitely think that the community is very strong. Stronger than and I would love to hear like Dr. Baker's perspective or Michaela Peterson's perspective, because they've seen this evolve from the beginning. I own my view of it is only from 2023, 2024. So
really my point is that we sort of said 23, 24, 25, and 26 will be the year when we burst onto the scene, I think, in mainstream media.
I don't know about that though, and that's where I was going with this, because although the community is strong, right, we're still really siloed. Does that make sense? So we are in like the echo chamber, right? We're all together and we're talking and we're supporting each other, and that's great, and we need that. But when I think about outside this bubble that we're in, like my friends, my coworkers, my family, it's the same.
It is. Yeah.
Does that make sense? I'm not, and George, I totally agree with you. And I listen, I hope the documentary blows up and helps with stuff like that. But we're still very, it's the same. And that's fine, because meat is too expensive.
I think it's growing, though. I think it's growing.
It is growing. We are bringing people in.
I see so many more YouTube channels, so many more influencers, more meetups, more live events than when I started, and even when I was keto before COVID. I mean, it's really grown. So if it continues in that trajectory, at some point we're going to break out of this bubble. You know, politically, all different ways, it's going to happen. But then on the other hand, I also see some carnivores leaving and adding carbs and fruit back in, and they're saying that they feel better. So there's that phenomenon. I don't know.
And listen, on that topic, you know, you can eat a little bit of plants. It's not.
I know.
It's just as long as you're eating mostly meat, and I think they mostly all are eating mostly meat, except for some crazy people.
I mean, just because you add a few carbs back in doesn't mean you've left the carnivore community.
Right.
Because as you did a fabulous video the other day, John, you said that anybody who's over 75% is carnivore.
Yes, so John, that video was great.
Yeah. And can I just flag out a couple of my own brother and a very great friend of mine who aren't carnivores, but they come to meetups because they love meat. And they're happy to eat,
and they're not carnivores.
But they're happy to eat only meat for the day, and they just love the carnivore community because they find us amusing. They find us full of energy. The conversations are great and uninhibited around the table. Nobody's sitting there complaining about their illnesses. What they're talking about is that everybody's got a positive mental attitude. So I have people over here now who are attending meetups who are perfectly happy to be carnivores for a day, but they go home and they eat their vegetables and that sort of thing. But they love the carnivore community. So it's not as if, you know, we are this niche anymore. We are sort of known out there now, and people sympathize with us without necessarily being carnivores themselves, which I think is a huge step forward.
And I will say everyone they're very much more accommodating to me now. Like that's something that that has changed. So like at work, like tomorrow we're having our holiday celebration with my coworkers, and they ordered food that I can eat. We're getting Greek food, and they're getting kebabs and stuff like that. I can eat all that stuff. And then my cousin's hosting Christmas Eve. She said to me, "Do you want me to cook anything special for you?"
Right.
And I'm gonna be fasting. So I told her no. But yeah, so it's, you know, people are definitely more accommodating, you know, 3 years in, because I guess they see that this is not a fad for me, you know, so this is it. So I'm, you know,
visually, so for someone like you, Louis, they saw, if they knew you before when you were 100 pounds heavier, and if they've heard any portion of your story, how much and you're maintaining it, and how happy you look, and that sells it more than anything. Is when someone watches you over time, you don't need to speak words, you're living it, and sooner or later they're going to see it. And then at some point, when someone is looking for an answer, they're going to remember that, and they'll start. They'll start seeking.
That's all I care about. Even the kids in my family, you know, there are children in my family that are overweight, and I see, you know how it is about our eyes being open now. I see the sugar and I see myself and them and me, myself
Right.
and them, where I was as a young person. And again, it's not my fault, my parents' fault. It's just the world we live in. It's terrible.
Yeah.
This food environment that we live in. So I tell them right now, I tell them all about carnivore and about carbs and eating meat. And we read cans of soda together and labels together, and we do all that. And I just want, and
Good.
listen, I'm not gonna, I don't want a 12-year-old to stop eating carbs, right? Like, obviously, I mean, their parents will already look at me like they're gonna kill me. But like, as long as they know that it's an option and that what it could do, the benefits of it, then that's all I wish I had, So yeah, I agree.
Role model.
Yeah, absolutely. Can I
Yeah.
just tell a happy story? I've gone,
Yeah.
I think, as most people know, I've gone back to the day job I left in August on August 15th because they asked me back, basically.
Oh, you went
And
back, George?
I did,
Make that
yes.
money, George. Make
Oh,
that money. Make that
Well,
money.
the thing
So he
is
has
that
to take care of his feet.
yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, precisely. But the thing
I
is,
can get
it
a
was
pedicure every week.
yeah, no, I don't need one every week, but yeah. So I'm back there. The project is due to be handed over on April the 16th. There will be a snagging period, which hopefully will take me through the end of May, which means that the money will be in the bank. I can buy the tickets to Wyoming, and I can take June off so I can play host for the great. That's my thinking anyway, and then I can start the career that I've put it back 6 months basically. That's all.
All right.
But right, okay. So the employer always buys a Christmas gift for the employees as a thank you for the year, and it's in construction. It's nearly always alcohol, and sure enough, they were buying white or red wine. They know my story. They know that I haven't had a drink for 6 months, and so I was absolutely delighted when the finance lady turned up at my gatehouse with my Christmas present, which was an 11-ounce, 30-day aged Aberdeen Angus ribeye steak.
Beautiful.
So,
Wow.
but this is what I mean by we
That's
are.
even better than a cheap bottle of wine.
Oh,
It's even
yeah.
better.
Far better,
Oh,
yeah.
heck yeah.
But we are making people think,
Right.
stop and think.
Yes.
They have believe me, I've preached it. They were around back in. I was around back in August when I did the meetup. They knew that I was leaving them to go and work in the carnivore world. They knew that I went to Wyoming. They all wanted to know how Wyoming was, and they all insisted on seeing the photographs. So yeah, it's just this. Just we are. Amy's saying we're planting seeds. We're planting seeds left, right, and centre.
Yeah.
And there's just one more thing I wanted to ask Louis, and that's that you're very much a member of the carnivore community. I met you on July the 1st this year on the first Zoom call with Alia on the course.
Wow.
That's my first
right,
remember meeting you.
Okay.
I probably was aware of you in the.
I was about to say, wow, you remember the date? Wow.
Yeah, that was the date the call started.
Yes.
Right. So I first met my first friend in the carnivore community last week of August 2023, Larry Allhands. Then Lauren on October the 30th. I joined her WhatsApp group. We merged 2 WhatsApp groups, and then it snowballed to the point now where I'm sat here with you guys 2 years and 4 months down the line. Louis, who is your first friend in the carnivore community? When did you make that friend?
Oh God!
And how many local carnivores have you got in New York?
This is a great question, and I think it's really going to highlight that I'm a bad friend.
Oh no.
So, this stuff happens very organically, right? It started with. I would say like Dr. Berry, right? So Dr. Berry wasn't the first person I found talking about reversing type 2 diabetes, but he was the one that had a community and a following like that, So first Dr. Berry, and then all the other doctors like Dr. Berg and Dr. Egberg and Jason Fung and Dr. Westman. Many of those who I've kind of outgrown, like Dr. Berg, I've outgrown stuff like that. I still refer to his videos for other people, but stuff, that kind of stuff I've kind of moved on. But I did join Dr. Berry's community, his PhD community, and I am actually still a member of that community. Not as active in that community as I should be since I'm paying for it. But I do pay for it because it's a way for me to give back to what he's given me, right? And then I have access to him if I ever need him to look at my labs. I can jump onto a private Zoom with him and ask him stuff. But I want to say that it just happened so organically. I don't even know. I mean, definitely Thomas.
Can you remember who I can remember
rib.
because basically Larry was the first person I swapped emails with. That's how I kind of either emails or WhatsApp. Personal contacts is what I'm talking about. Can you remember?
Oh well, then definitely Thomas. Thomas lives in New Jersey,
so
yeah, definitely Thomas was probably one of the first people in real life. And it just happened naturally. Like I just got more active in the chat. Like Mitch, Old Guy Carnivore, like that's actually where me and Thomas first met, in that chat. I never met Mitch in person yet, but I've spoken to him and we do talk and stuff like that. So
sure.
he's definitely someone. But Carnivores here, first of all, I haven't really converted anybody. Like the person that I've maybe converted the most is my wife, but she still eats carbs, but she's not as metabolically broken as I was, so she's good. I have met some people in schools, and I don't go around with like the carnivore t-shirt on and going crazy like that. Like I'm at work and whatever. But sometimes people will ask me, because they knew I lost a lot of weight. They'll ask me like what I did and stuff like that. I said, well, I just, I changed what I eat. I don't want to just say I stopped eating carbs. I'll be like, yeah, I stopped eating plants. And I say things like that, like freak people out. I like freaking people out. And one teacher at one of my middle schools came up to me. I was talking to him. He goes, oh, are you carnivore? And I said, yeah, are you? And he's like, yeah, I am. And so I did meet one person, but I didn't have anything to do with it. But
secret society.
We did connect over that. Well, it's weird, It's weird.
The only problem with the carnivore community is we haven't got a secret handshake because we hug. So it's pretty obvious when it's two carnivores meet, because it's big hugs, isn't it?
But Thomas is back in the chat, so stop talking about him.
Yeah, there's one particular person I'd like to touch on. Because there is one person that I've been trying to interview or trying to convince to interview for a long time. We'll come on to who that is in a minute. But I met Larry in August 23, and in January 2024, he introduced me to the idea of the meetup. He organized a meetup in Austin, Texas in January 2024. About, I think, maybe 16 to 20 people went. Ashley Rogers was there, of the Carnivore Brothers. And also the fantastic Lynn and Jim Tucker were there, because they were living in Texas at the time. Now, shortly after that, Lynn and I became friends, and we've been friends ever since. So nearly 2 years I've known Lynn Tucker Carnivore now. I've tried to seduce her, if you like, into coming on to Carnivore Sunday School, to coming on to, but she always
why. She's so great.
Yeah, she always has an excuse. But she does her own channel, but she doesn't seem to do many interviews for other people.
I've actually never seen her really on a interview. Exactly. I met her at Hack Your Health.
I was about to say that, because I am jealous as anything, because I'm a huge fan of Lynn, a great friend of Lynn.
Yeah,
we talk a lot privately in the background. But as I said, I've never convinced her to come on Carnivore Sunday School as yet. She's always moving house, or she's always too busy, or she's always doing the garden or something. She's very polite, but she'll politely knocks me back. I just want to say how wretchedly jealous I am of you, Lewis, that you've stolen one of my friends. And it's so funny.
Not that I don't love them, right? I do. They're great people, but like they're not really common in our chats and stuff like that. Like sometimes, but not like they're not always on.
No, exactly. That's right.
I knew them from healinghumanity.life, that community. And even I don't even see them on there that often. But when I walked into that dinner, because they didn't go to the convention, they only went to the Healing Humanity dinner. And John, I don't think you went to the Healing Humanity dinner.
No, I didn't go to the dinner. Just was
and I'm telling you, Lynn was like she saw me and she came right up to me, and I was like, I was not expecting that. It was very, very, very nice. They're really good people, really, really good. And then we took the selfies.
I was jealous when I saw you with the arms around Lynn, I must admit. But yeah, just a bit of background about myself and Lynn. Jim used to be a mounted policeman. As you know, I'm very interested in horse racing. So is Lynn in horses. So we do talk about horses as well as carnivore in the background. So we do have that in common as well. I send her pictures of the British horse racing, and she absolutely loves it. So yeah, just wanted to say, you know, yeah,
it was a good one. That was a good one.
Yeah, I love that photograph. I've got it cherished.
Yeah, meetups.
Can I just say that you two guys have, I think you must be the most shutter happy guys out there, because my phone is full of photographs which Louis.
I do take a lot of photos. I do.
And which John.
But the meetups are definitely great. And John, I don't know, have you been to many meetups?
I've been to a few. I have. I met Dr. Kiltz the first time at a meetup in Florida. He came to Bradenton, Florida. He and Dr. Nelson and who popped in, but Kerry Mann, we didn't expect him to be there. We're like, oh my God, he's here. And
was that was at the restaurant? The Brazilian
that was
restaurant,
at
right?
Yeah, it was at a restaurant. It was fun. It was a blast.
I think that was Mitch's. Mitch
was there. Right? Papa Carnivore. I met him. It was great. So great. I like meetups. They're refreshing. They're exciting. I mean, you're coming together. You have all that. You have that one thing in common.
They definitely fill your cup.
They fill your cup, and nobody has a bad thing to say. It's you walk away empowered and validated. You know, like, oh, I'm on the right track. Everybody's doing great here. Yeah,
it's worthwhile mentioning, John, that you and I met through a meetup. I think it was it called Hack Your Health at Austin last year, or was that Keto Con? Austin in May.
I think Hack Your Health was in Austin last year.
It was in Austin last year.
Yeah.
So I actually met John through that because our mutual friend Larry went there, and Larry was the one who sent me the photographs last year. And one of the ones that he sent me was of
with us,
himself and John. And then it was basically, I then became aware of John, was following John. And then when Larry decided to stop his YouTube channel, it was I then reached out to John to let him know that that Larry was leaving the YouTube community, and that basically he could carry on with his Wednesday night school, because that's what he was basically covering what he thought was Larry's summer holiday.
His time slot I took.
But his time slot.
Got it.
But then obviously he was able to carry that on. And as I told Robin Heron last night, this was born
from that
out of the Hump Day meetup, the Wednesday Hump Day meetup. So
I like Sundays. Yeah.
So Larry is really the father of Carnivore Sunday School, and if it weren't for Larry, I never would have met John. So you know, it's funny how the community happens. But John and I met. We didn't meet at a meetup.
We haven't met in person yet, but one of these days.
Well, we will do. There's no question about that, because I mean the thing is, I'm planning from now on until such times they take me in a wheelbarrow. I'm planning to come to the States at least once a year.
Good.
This next year it's going to be Wyoming. With a possible add-on, because the following weekend, Robin is organising Impact in Kalamazoo in Michigan.
Oh, you're Michigan.
So I will be over in Wyoming the weekend before, and I haven't even spoken to Laney about this yet. But if the money's okay and the time's okay, there's no reason why I might not be able to move internally down to Michigan for the following weekend. Following year,
listen, if you're coming over the pond, you know, if your flight lands in New York.
Absolutely. Well, it will do one day. Those people. I mean, the following year won't necessarily be the United States, because Alia is seriously talking about a Colombia meetup down in Bogota.
Wow. I would definitely be there.
Yeah, but one thing I definitely can tell you is that myself and Rocking Coach Amy, we have a date which is not necessarily, which will be a meetup in its own right, but we intend to go to the Kentucky Derby together in May of 2028. So if there's any meetups around that time, which I'm sure there will be by that time, then we'll be going. So so the plans are to visit the States once a year. It's going to be mine and Laney's holiday destination. I think for Laney's very keen to go to the Bogota one, because she and Ali got on very well, and she really fancies South America. So yeah, it's I will work my way around the Florida. I know that Laney would love to go to Disney because she's a great fan of Disney. So I believe Orlando. Yes, Orlando in Florida and Anaheim in California. So yeah, watch this space, and we will be working our way hopefully around the community in the States, and also and the reverse is hopefully true. Louis, I know you have a massive problem with travel because you have 10 foster children at the moment.
I do. Well, they're not nine. I have 9 cats currently, and they're not foster children. They are here to stay.
Oh, okay. I thought
And
they
then
were
I have
fosters, but
foster
no.
cats on top of that usually, but
Oh,
we have
right.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah.
foster.
All
So
right.
like
Yeah.
right now I have 9 cats and I have 2 kittens in my house.
You
But
should have left the door open so we could see them walking around back
no,
there.
when I start to talk,
They get all over you, right?
they start to like Zelda would be here climbing up my leg.
See, I think that would make great YouTube. It
It
would be everybody be watching because
Usually if I'm on my laptop or my iPad downstairs, a cat will always, you'll see a cat butt on the screen at some point.
But
Yeah.
that's good.
I'm just noticed that Amy's saying that Kalamazoo is only an hour and a half from her, so there's absolutely no reason at all why she can't make Impact on September the 5th next year with
That's
Robin.
it, baby. You gotta get there.
Yeah, because I spoke to Robin last night and she confirmed that Impact next year will be happening on September the 5th. Because I was a bit worried that it might clash with the Rendezvous City beef roundup, but it's not going to. It's going to be a week apart, which is perfect. So yeah, that would be nice. I don't know whether I'm going to make it or not, and Lainey is listening. I just noticed. So, but we'll have to wait and see. I'll probably have to work very hard to get the money to do it. But who knows? Nothing is impossible in this world, as Dr. Cook said.
And
Think it,
it's hard.
Think it, and it shall be. So there we go.
Absolutely.
Yeah, travel's expensive.
Right. We're coming to the top of the hour here, but I don't know if Stephanie's going to stop this, how it's going to end.
We could be.
So,
I mean, I'm, if you guys want to go a full 60 minutes, I can. No, Stephanie's not here.
Yeah.
Because I see 3 people in the private chat. So that's us 3.
That's just us, right?
So Stephanie, are you watching?
Yeah,
I do want to say one thing about you guys, about Stephanie and John and George. You guys are so organized and professional. I wasn't always going to be the guest today, but I was able to help out, which is great. But Stephanie's email confirming the date and getting all information and was just super really organized.
She is professional.
There are channels, there are groups with much larger, audiences that are not that organized. So I just wanted to give you guys that. As it's a really great. It's also how I am. So I really
you're in education. George and I were in education, so I think we have that in common. The organization factor there. So what we do is there anything else you'd like to share about your personal story before we leave? Because that's why you're on. I mean, anything else that you didn't get the chance to let our audience know?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think I always say this and people get mad at me, like, my story is not special, it's so like so many stories. And that's the kind of like the thing that I've learned over the time is that there's so many of us are going through this. It might sound different, it might look a little different, but if you blur your eyes, the stories are very, very similar. It's just about people healing and trying to find their way. And yes, after meetups, I do feel like I'm doing the right thing, but sometimes I think, and maybe I'm not doing the right thing because everything we're doing is against what everyone says to do, right? And it's hard. It's hard to live like that. We didn't talk about heart disease. I don't know why we didn't talk about that, but when I stopped taking the statin, when I was on a statin because all diabetics get a statin. I told my doctor, send me for a CAC and, blah, 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 blah. It wasn't 0, right? It didn't come back 0. So, I just, I'm still I'm not adding carbs back. Don't worry. But I go through these waves where am I doing the right thing? And, it's just, it's hard. And I think that's normal. So if anyone is ever experiencing that, I think that it's normal and you have to kind of think about what the alternative is, right? Where else would I go? What am I going to be, a vegan? I don't think that the diabetes that I have a tendency towards, right? And again, although I do say that my diabetes is reversed, I do know that I can go back to that very quickly. I know that that's why I am where I am today with a positive CAC score and other things. I know it's because of that. So just it could be another next time you invite me back, we can talk about heart disease.
Sure.
But yeah, just it's normal to kind of second guess yourself and then just, think about the big picture. And I definitely do believe I am better. But like Dr. Nelson and like we all say, is carnivore can't fix everything. And sometimes and Dr. Nelson loves telling me this and I hate it.
Mhm.
Like, sometimes we've done damage that can't be undone, and
Damage done. Absolutely.
gotta live with it. Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, I'll never be able to walk naturally again because my knees are so damaged that I have a very awkward, stiff manner of walking.
I have
I'll never
arthritis
run
in my
again.
foot. That is
But the thing
terrible.
is, I am massively grateful now that I can walk again.
Mhm.
Because before I could hobble around. I wasn't as bad as Bill up in Alaska, but I wasn't far from that.
Wow.
Going shopping was a painful, really painful, necessary experience. Now I can go out and walk. Yeah, my maximum walking speed is probably 2.5 miles an hour, but I can walk for hours now at 2.5 miles an hour. So I don't get very far. I go very slowly, but I am so grateful. I have the gratitude attitude that I can get off my bed and go and walk. Yeah, I could feel sorry for myself that I can't run a 5.5 minute mile like I used to, but I don't. I am grateful for everything which has happened in the last 3.5 years. And hey, and I always remind myself, I'm sitting here with you guys who I absolutely adore. And if it weren't for the fact that I had 10 years of misery, I wouldn't be sat here with you guys now. I wouldn't be going across to the Kentucky Derby with Amy. I wouldn't be going to Wyoming again next year. It was the pain and the suffering which has brought me here. So I'm grateful for the pain and the suffering, believe it or not, because had I not got ill, I probably would still be living the normal life now, eating my pizza and my noodles and my rice and having no idea what a wonderful community there is out there, which I'm now a very proud and active member. So with every setback, every disaster, there is always a consequence, and the consequences in this case have been magical, to say the very least.
I'm not gonna be. It's not gonna be a pity party for myself. Yes, you can go through those feelings when things happen or when you learn information out, but I'm gonna be positive, and I'm gonna, that's how I'm gonna choose to move forward.
Yeah,
that's the only way. It really is.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I can't end this, but we're going to end it for our viewers. And I guess just sign ourselves out, and then hopefully Stephanie will press stop from wherever. I don't know what happens if it's not stopped, but
you're gonna have a lot of broadcast hours, John. That's for sure.
We'll have a lot of black screen, maybe. But anyway, thank you for coming. And I'm sorry we didn't highlight more questions or comments because Stephanie is the administrator that needed to do that. I tried to read a few of them.
Yeah,
but so many people have been responding and saying amazing things. We don't even have time to read them. So hopefully we'll be able to do more of that next Sunday. But thank you for coming on, Louis.
No problem.
You
listen,
came on as an emergency. Come on, I think because
not a problem. I'm glad I was available.
So
and
thank you.
Anything for you guys. And Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Yep. And I'll see you guys later.
Yeah, right. just one comment before we go, and that was the fact that that Louis kindly stepped in because Robin had a church event today. Right. I spoke to Robin last night, did an interview with her. She's coming on at the end of January.
Right.
And a quick heads up for next week. Hopefully Steph will be back. I really hope so, because it's a very special one next week because it's Dr. Kilt's. And he was he was very devastated to have forgotten before, and he constantly reminds me now that he's coming on the 28th of December. So yeah, I'm fairly confident that Dr. Kilt's will be with us next week, and I'm hopeful very much so that Steph will be back next week, because we did see her just before, but she was clearly distracted by something. So hopefully that everything will be okay there. Right, that's it then, folks. So are we going to sign out together and
we're going to have a black
screen? So okay, bye everybody.
Bye guys.
Bye.
Take care.